There are no transitional links and intermediate forms in either the fossil record or the modern world. Therefore, there is no actual evidence that evolution has occurred either in the past or the present. Absolutely no transitional forms either in the fossil record or in modern animal and plant life have been found. All appear fully formed and complete. The fossil record amply supplies us with representation of almost all species of animals and plants, but none of the supposed links of plant to animal, fish to amphibian, amphibian to reptile, or reptile to birds, nor any transitional forms at all, period. There are essentially the same gaps between all the basic kinds in the fossil record as exist in plant and animal life today. There are literally a host of missing links in the fossil record and the modern world. Number 1. There is no evidence, none, in the fossil record of one kind of creature becoming another kind. No transitional links or intermediate forms between the various kinds of creatures have ever been found. For example, the evolutionist claims that it took perhaps 50 million years for a fish to evolve into an amphibian. But again, there are no transitional forms. For example, not a single fossil with part fins, part feet has been found, and this is true between every major plant and animal kind. Number 2, nowhere do we see animals with partially evolved legs, eyes, brains, or various other tissue, organs, or biological structures. Number 3, if continuous evolution is a universal law of nature, as the evolutionist claims, then there should be an abundance of evidence of continuity and transition between all the kinds of organisms involved in the process, both in the present world and in the fossil record. Instead, we find great gaps between all the basic kinds, and essentially the same gaps in the fossil record that exist in the modern world. Number 4, there are no links, none, of plant to animal, fish to amphibian, amphibian to reptile, reptile to birds and mammals. There are no links whatsoever. Number 5, all of the present orders, classes and phyla appear quite suddenly in the fossil record without indications of the evolving lines from which they developed. The same is largely true even most familiars and genre. There are literally an innumerable host of missing links in the record, innumerable. Number 6, there is simply no evidence of partial evolved animals or plants in the fossil record to indicate that evolution has occurred in the past, and certainly no evidence of partial evolved animals and plants existing today, which obviously indicates that evolution was not occurring in the past and it's not occurring now. Number 7, the outstanding characteristics of the fossil record is the absence of evidence for evolution. I'll repeat that. The outstanding characteristics of the fossil record is the absence of evidence for evolution. Number 8, if there were links, then they would have been found, since the fossil record is quite ample to represent the true state of the ancient world. Most individual species of fossil plants and animals have been collected in considerable numbers, but the hypothetical intermediate species have never been represented at all. Number 9, Darwin stated, why, if species have descended from other species by insensibly fine gradations, do we not see innumerable transitional forms? Why is not all nature in confusion instead of the species being as we see them well defined? Number 10, Darwin admitted that the number of transitional links must have been conceivably great. The fact that there are none prompted him to conclude that this fact is the most obvious and gravest objection which can be urged against my theory. Number 11, the occasional suggested examples of missing links, such as the famous archaeometric, supposedly linking birds and reptiles, can usually be recognised on closer study to represent merely another type of one of the basic kinds it supposedly links. The archaeometric was a true bird by a reasonable definition with feathers and warm blood. Number 12. even if a creature shared characteristics belonging to two separate groups. However, this would not necessarily make it a transitional link, as long as each one of the characteristics themselves is complete and not in process of transition from one type of structure or function into another type of structure or function. Number 13. Because of the lack of evidence for gradual evolution in the fossil record, more and more evolutionists are adopting a new theory of evolution known as macroevolution. The theory of macroevolution teaches that animals and plants changed suddenly from one kind to another without going through any gradual or transitional process. Number 14. Other evolutionists claim that the links are missing only because the changes are so small that they are not noticed. The problem here is that they are assuming that at every point in the evolution process the being would appear as complete or whole. Actually, they would appear in transition, as when a house is being built. Number 15. The point to remember is that the fossil problem for Darwinism is getting worse all the time. No fossils can be found. You go find me some missing links that connect this animal to the other, and I will believe.